Well, you're still watching Politics Today on Channels Television. We move swiftly from the national issue of insurgency to Edo State, where APC in that state seems to be crumbling. The crisis in that particular party after the congresses, especially the World Congress, has almost torn the party apart. In fact, now a lot of members of the party, they have left the party. Well, this time around, I have joining me on the program the State Publicity Secretary of APC, Comrade Godwin Eraon. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
And the former ANPP governorship candidate in Edo State, Mr. Solomon Edebiri. Thank you for joining us on the program. Let me start with you, Mr. Edebiri. You were one strong member of the APC. I mean, of course, ANPP as a governorship candidate of your party at the governorship election, then you were a very strong member coming into a merger with all other party to form the APC. And now you're moving out of that party in which you stood as a pillar as at that time. What could have chased you away from the APC?
Well, thank you very much. As you rightly said, ANPP was one of the legacy parties in the merger. And I was one of the members of the merger committee. When we put APC together at that time, what we had in mind was to put a party in place that would meet the yearnings and aspirations of the people democratically. What we wanted to answer was the full definition of Abraham Lincoln regarding democracy, that should be able to form a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. We put together a constitution that answers all the questions that may arise during the democratic process. And of course, you know, that includes the internal democracy in the political party. But having done all that, it was now time to ensure that all the paraphernalia of the constitution were properly executed at all stratas of the party. But coming back to Edo State, what we meant was a huge disappointment to an extent that APC Edo State eventually turned to a neocracy, a party where the decision was always by one man. And this abuse to democratic institution, democratic norm, started immediately after APC was registered with the by-election in the state, where the other legacy parties like the ANPP, CPC, but I'm not going to speak for the people from CPC because Godwin Eraon, who of course told this democratic part with us in the past, and I only hope that he will always continue to speak the truth on issues, because when we affect the people and we decide to defend the wrong things, we are unfair to the people. And of course, the other side of democracy, well, if you look at the definition clearly, you find the opposite of democracy telling about unfairness. So if you are not practicing democracy in its true tenet, you are being unfair to the people. When the by-election was conducted, it was strictly instructed that only the old ACN candidates be returned for the councillorship election. And I find that very abusing. And in all efforts to get to the governor and get to all the party members that could address the issue failed. At the end of the day, across the state, only the old ACN people took part. Things started going down the ladder. Things started going down. And as we move on, things were failing. The system was breaking down. Then eventually, the last straw that broke the camel's back for me, that I thought I couldn't stay in an environment where I have to fight. I may have to employ the use of knife, the use of gun, the use of axe in order to get my way. I wasn't brought up like that. And people looking onto me for the future that they do really want to have politically will not want to see me degrade myself to that level where I have to resort to the use of arms to fight for my political rights.
So you believe that your party, the defunct ANPP, in this merger was unfairly treated?
Extremely marginalized.
And there were no opportunity for you to actually resolve your issues.
The greatest abuse to democracy was the last Congress.
And you could
a man who walked out on the Congress. The World Congress is the most vibrant political arm in terms of election, in terms of internal democracy, it's rooted at the World Congress. A man who walked out on Congress and said if it is not by harmonization, he will not take part in the Congress. He's not going to face an open election. Eventually turned out to be the local government party chairman. And I haven't seen that happen anywhere in the world before. People took part in an election only to find at the end of the day, those who won the election, as a matter of fact, I would have come with the result sheets. I'm keeping them for tomorrow. Because whatever I say about APC, about Congress in Edo State is the truth. And people who know me know I don't lie.
So you think the Congresses in Edo APC was a sham?
A complete sham. And of course, as a matter of if the Comrie governor wanted to be on the people's side, he should have cancelled that Congress and reordered. The first one we had.
Is he linked to him now? Is it linked to him now?
See, let me explain this.
Is a party.
The Turkish parable says the rot of a fish must commence from the head. If a state, the state APC, was assumed to be under the coordination of the governor, where the party has a governor, a sitting governor. And as far as Edo State is concerned, the head of APC in Edo State is the governor. And as a matter of fact, in a lot of meetings we had, when I was member of APC and I was a member of the state interim ESCO, a lot of issues was presided over by the governor because he is the head. Right. And when things are breaking down, what happens?
So you could actually blame the governor for this? Are you blaming him for this?
I blame him totally for the mess that is going on in the state.
All right, Mr. Edebiri, let me allow Comrade Aaron to intervene in this matter. You've heard what he just said. Why would you want to unfairly treat the members of your party who are supposed to be your family member in that political sense, and to the extent that they are leaving the party?
Well, thank you. First, I must set the record straight that I haven't listened to my brother, Chief Edebiri. It's very clear that he's speaking for himself and not for ANPP. I'll tell you first, he came into ANPP just before the 2012 election. And the chairman of the party, who had been there for years, as well as other officers, took part in all the stakeholders meetings that preceded the congresses. And this exclusion that he's talking about, those ones are not complaining about it. And I can also assure you that even before he left, those ones were not aware. And so he is the one that is far from his people.
So you mean this is an individualistic fight?
Purely individualistic.
It's just Chief Edebiri's fight.
Fight, yes.
It's not.
No, not at all.
You saw the visual that we showed earlier before we came into the discussion.
Speaking for ANPP.
Okay.
I'm saying no, he is not, because.
So is there any form of unfairness to any member of a APC in Edo State that could have made them leave the party?
I am the former chairman of CPC in Edo State, and therefore I'm not from the ODCN block. And I will tell you straight away that as soon as the program for the congresses were released, the governor called a stakeholders meeting. All of us were there. The governor pleaded, said, look, I can see two different groups competing. This group, if we allow people to continue to go and contest, go and fight for popularity or whatever, if one group is the most popular and then they start winning, for example, in a ward, you feed a chairmanship candidate, every group has candidates for all the offices. And therefore, if you allow such a process to continue, you will find a situation where one group has the chairman to the last office, to the least office in the list. Because it's a matter of queuing. If the chairmanship candidate from you and I are competing, you stand as chairman, the other one stands as chairmanship candidate for different groups. Once you have, say, about 900 voters on the back of one, behind one of them, then you have about 400 on behalf of the other one. That one wins. All the other elections up to the assistant secretary and others will follow that same line, which means that the 400 would have been excluded.
So that was the fear of
that was where the government now pleaded and said, look, gentlemen as it is, you people try and harmonize
When he was talking about you people, was referring to
everybody,
the leaders of different groups.
The different groups and then the different legacy parties.
How many factions do we have in the APC now?
Well, I wouldn't call them faction because none of them has a chairman of his own. None of them has executive of his own.
So what do you think was the problem in the Congress?
So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. The pastor Sage Ezeyamu, who led this complaint now, all this allegation, stood up at that meeting to say that he was not ready for such harmonization, that they were on ground, they were going to continue. Unfortunately, my brother never attended any of the meetings. The ANPP leaders, the former chairman, and then the state secretary now is an ANPP man, were all there at the distance. At the end of the day, Ezeyamu said no, they will not agree. The governor said, okay.
Agree on what terms?
They will not agree on harmonization, that they were on ground.
They want to go for election.
For election.
Is there anything bad in
Then they went for election. When they went for election, the Ezeyamu group lost. He came back and said, it was like that because there was no accreditation. The government said, okay, to bend backward to fulfill all righteousness. Let's see how we can. So when we say governor now, the committee that was set up from Abuja, the Congress committee, were there. Chief Ikimi there as the national leader. Chief Yegun there. And now all of us now resolve, okay, since that's the case, let's go back for the Congress.
Is it true that some results, the results were cancelled, and there were some results that were rewritten from the government house?
Yes, how can that be true? They cannot associate that. I'm telling you now that when we now went for the second Congress, then he lost again. He came back and now requested for the harmonization. Haven't lost. Then the governor said, you cannot ask me to shift the goalpost after a goal has been scored. Congress has been held. The worst areas where results were announced by the committee, not himself. It's the committee that brought results. It's the areas where the Congresses succeeded. In social area, it failed. So areas where it has been concluded, we cannot go back now.